Hello and welcome to Electricpreneur Secrets, the electrician podcast. We're here with you 5 days a week to help you master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level service. Ironically, when you take care of that third one, the other two get a lot easier. I'm Clay Newmeyer, your host, and with me, as always, my co-host and very beautifully brained Joseph the Sales Bot Lucani here. We had that chat earlier. Man, I cannot compliment how your brain works enough.
Well, thank you, man. It really means a lot. And, it's nice. It is nice knowing that you're appreciated and valued. So thank you, Clay. It means the world to be here with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And guys, if you are not yet with us in the Facebook group, that's where all the VIP access comes. There's guys with us live there right now, able to exchange with us, even as we're here delivering on this podcast. And Rodney is saying, and it's fit for today because we're talking about Time for Fun, episode 69, which we're also kind of childish too. We find that hilarious. You've ever seen the Canadian, well, it's not Canadian, it's based on a Canadian hockey team, Goon, with Sean William Scott. He chooses the number 69, and it's because his buddy Jay's in the audience saying, choose 69. It's hilarious. And he does that. So today we named it Time for Fun, and Rodney's here with us saying, man, it's a good thing is I'm all work from like 7 a.m. to 7 or 9 p.m. So please help. We can use all the help we can get. Rodney, we hear you, brother. It becomes all work, right? We've had this chat around balance before. Guillaume's with us. Josh is with us. Thank you, guys. Happy you're here. Joe, what are your thoughts on how important fun is in the workplace?
Oh God, I can only tell you what I've experienced from, actually, let me back that up for a second. I'm going to say it differently.
Yeah.
Good judgment comes from experience, but experience comes from bad judgment. And all of my experience that I'm bringing to you today comes from me being too focused on the work.
I'm sorry. Can you back that up? I need to hear that one more time. I've not heard that before, but that was fucking huge.
Yeah. So good judgment comes from experience, meaning that like when you've done things enough, you know how to do them the right way.
Yeah.
But experience itself comes from bad judgment.
I love that.
So you can only really learn things from messing up every now and then. And that's why I feel like I can really give you guys perspective on this particular topic, because I made a lot of mistakes overworking myself. Like there are many family events missed. I mean, like a lot of really important stuff that I wasn't present for because I was grinding. And I thought that was as a societally pressured man, that's what I felt I was pressured to do. I'm here to grind. And that's what my role is in this society. Right.
Yeah. And that quote, I just got to say this, that was so huge, but I'm still stuck on it, Joe. I'm stuck in there. It reminds me of that good times create weak men create hard times. Hard times create strong men, and strong men create good times. You've heard that before, sort of a similar thing. So I love though how that accepts the two, right? It's part of the process. It's bigger than us. We have to learn. You have to go through those trenches. You have to have those bad experiences to then feed the good. So I'm sorry to get stuck on that with you. And then to hear what you're saying, to then translate that into how it affects your family and your health. Here's the reality though. Who's guilty? Like guys, if you're live with us, or even if you're driving down the road right now, feel free to throw your hand up and agree with me. Who's guilty of overworking themselves?
Right here, dude. I'm going to put 2 up.
Right.
If I had a foot, I'd raise that as well. Right.
We've all done this. Here's where it gets even more complicated and what we really got to dive into today too. And sorry if I stole this from you. I'm sorry.
I don't care. Go for it, man. It's, as long as the crowd is being benefited, that's all that matters.
We got some hands up in the group. Our hands went up clearly. What happens when you hire people though? Here's where it gets tricky, because the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. How are you going to advise? And does it even matter what you say to your staff if you're leading them a different way?
You know what?
My God.
I actually was reading something on parenting, and it was an amazing, amazing thing that I learned. It was actually very profound wisdom. And it pretty much said that you don't have to teach your kids anything, but you have to show them everything, which means you don't have to teach them about the man you want them to be, but you have to be the man that you want them to be. And as a result, they'll follow you by your example, even if you spoke a completely different language.
You just gave me
So
shivers. Yeah,
I'm
I've
right
got a
there with you.
meme that's similar, and it's a dad and his son, and he says, "Boy, be careful," and the boy says back, "You be careful. I'm following you."
Wow. Are we just going back and forth with shiver quotes? Because this
Yeah,
is serious. Like this is great.
crazy.
But the thing is that like I realized if you're a business owner and you believe that you're supposed to grind, you may decide to say, I'm going to put in the extra hour and be late to dinner. You may say, I'm going to skip working out in the morning to get in and punch in a couple more hours, or I'm going to work through lunch. Well, great. You had a successful day. But what did you sacrifice as a result? You
Mm,
broke your routine, meaning that your physical health is being put on the wayside. You worked through lunch, meaning that the work you're probably doing during the day is going to be less effective and less productive because you're running on fumes. And then you're late for dinner tonight, meaning that your spouse is probably eating over the kitchen counter, taking care of the kids and, doing everything that they have to do, waiting for you.
yeah, doing nothing but thinking lovely thoughts and singing your praises too, I'm sure, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. That's what it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, every partner's
So,
at home going, "Ah, he's just working hard to support us. That's all this is."
yep, exactly. So
I've
when you
never
show
had
up
that
2 hours
battle
late for
before.
dinner, that goes great, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know
Mm.
what? This does touch me somewhere, and that sounded bad on the 69th episode. This touches me in a sensitive way, and here's the reason why. We've not held back on this at all, right?
Mhm.
Real people, real mistakes, real parenting mistake about to come
Mhm.
out here. So the bulk of my hours and my commitments to projects impacted my oldest daughter throughout her age of like 5 to 11. There's like a 6 year kind of thing there where I really push hard, just
Mhm.
pushed and pushed and pushed. And it just, I lost balance so many times, Joe. I'm talking like 4,000 hour years being away from home. Sometimes, this is bad. I haven't really admitted this many places, but sometimes going weeks without seeing her. And at this age, I can tell you right now, I did what I set out to do, and I worked myself to a position where I can finally be home and be present. And just as my old boss had said to me at one time when I got mad at him for calling me out on a weekend to go help a customer, I said I had to drop my daughter off early to do that. I just want you to know that. While you were with your family, I had to leave mine to take care of that job. And I said, in a couple more years, I'm going to be sitting pretty in an office like this. You guys watch. And he said something to me that dropped my chin to the floor at that time. He said, in a couple more years, she's a teenager. She doesn't want to hang out with you. I'm telling you, pin drop on the floor. At this point, my daughter's turning 14, and it's the absolute worst medicine I've ever tasted in my life. She gives me the exact treatment that I gave her, to the point where I've said it out loud, being like, "You're just like me," and it breaks my heart.
Holy shit.
We
Talk
were here
about a
for
heavy,
fun, and I
heavy.
just killed it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I
but
was gonna say the proverbial pin has been put through this balloon, but
you
it's
can't.
heavy stuff.
The point is, we don't need to go much heavier or much further with that, but the point is, you can't. There's no takebacks. There's
Mhm.
no takebacks. And where we're really going to bridge this to is away from my daughter and my situation, because guess what? She's a great kid. She'll be fine. I'll be fine. We work through it. And she loves me. I know that. But I taught her how to show love in a different way. I taught her
Mhm.
to be okay with a little space. Now she's more okay with space than I am. That's all. But what
Mhm.
happens when we do this in our culture, in our business, with our
Mhm.
staff? The same things happen. And I got to point something out. Maybe I'm covering too much at once here, but I think a lot of us don't give ourselves the credit of the
Mhm.
shadow we cast in our own little empire, in our own little domain. We don't
Mhm.
really see, we tend to look as equals to everyone too, and then try to pull ranks sometimes to make sure we're an authority.
Yep.
When really, if you could see from their view, they often idolize you already. They often already want to be you. They often already care what you're thinking and feeling without you saying.
That's actually 100% true. And I can speak to that from firsthand experience. But First, I want to say, Clay, thank you for being vulnerable with us as always. Like we really, we really care about you. I love you personally. And I think that the more you share, the better off the industry becomes because you're sharing something that means a lot. And I appreciate you being willing to open up about it.
Appreciate that.
You're welcome, man. As for, how we can leverage it, we do cast a pretty big shadow. We as business owners, I mean, it is what it is. I remember when I was just being like a new business owner and I started hiring employees. I remember my partner and I always saying like, why aren't people willing to step up and prove themselves? Or why aren't they where are these people? No one wants to work. Right. But then we looked at it and realized, well, why is no one offering to clean the shop? Well, are we cleaning the shop? When was the last time we went in and cleaned a toilet? We offer and say like, hey, why doesn't anyone take lunch? Well, do you tell them to stop and physically eat with them? It's like, no, we don't. So we realized that we actually got bigger waves made when we would go up to the shop and get there early and say, I'm going to make the coffee for everyone. I'm going to have it ready when the first tech shows up, the coffee was done. The toilet was scrubbed. The floor was clean. And then people started showing up to try and keep up with us.
And what is that saying, by the way, without using words? Because we know,
Mm-hmm.
what do they say, 70 or 80% of communication is not the words we use.
Yep.
What is that saying, that action?
It was meant to communicate, I will never tell you to do something that I would not do myself and that I don't consider myself better than you. It's almost like, I'll tell you, there's another book that I was reading that was describing the benefit of washing someone's feet. Like the thought of like supplication to another person, being able to like, hey, like I am not better than you. And I will specifically do things that you would think that would make me less than you. Like I will clean the toilet. It's my company, but I will clean the toilet. I will make you food.
I also heard this as you were saying that was like something to the effect of, I will work hard for you.
Mm-hmm.
Will you work hard for me?
Yep.
Without saying it. You don't need to, because people see it. They feel it. We did something in our projects where I realized I was tired of always saying, hey, we got to clean up. We got to clean the site trailers. We got to clean the parts trailer. We got to clean the site. It's always going to be left clean. You get tired of nagging. And we realized, hey, we got a few core needs here. Let's make teams and rotate these responsibilities. No one really loves to do them. But one of the most important pieces of this strategy was we put ourselves on those teams too.
Mm-hmm.
The teams need leaders too, right? And it wasn't important what rank you had or what position you held in the company. It was important that the task had a process and a team and a lead. And as long as we let it, it was the most cohesive we ever saw that program get. People would just do it because they would see others doing it and they would follow along. I know we haven't got to the fun stuff yet.
I know. I was going to say, this has been a hell of an episode, but I feel like it's
good
worth
stuff.
Yeah.
In fact, there's one more example. I'm sorry to cut you off. There's one more because we've touched on this before, but we had a client on the inside, honorable mentions to this fella. And he had said in the past, my team isn't showing that initiative. I just don't know who the next leads are, et cetera, et cetera. We talked about this before, but as a reminder, he then set new goals. He then hired us. He then started seeing his staff follow with ambition. And he had said to me, I don't know what happened. It's not like I said something. And then the light bulb went off. You did something.
Not what you said, it's what you did.
This was a bit of a segue away from what you were saying, but it's also going to be a great segue to the fun stuff.
Very true. And that literally, you're right. I didn't think it was going to, but it did put me on a tee here. Because now that you're in a situation to where your team is willing to follow you, right? Because they first have to see you as someone they like and trust. If they don't like and trust you, they're not going to listen to you the best way, just like our clients won't listen to us. So one thing that we did at our team that I thought was actually a really great idea is once a month, the first Thursday of every month, we would shut the team down on it. We usually call it like in a half day or a 3/4 day. Somewhere around 2:00 every Thursday of the first month, we would stop and we would say, every single person is going to stay clocked in. And we are going to go to the bar or restaurant that's 2 blocks down. And we're going to stay here for the next 3 hours.
Nice.
We're going to order you dinner, order you lunch. You can have as many drinks as you want. You have to have a safe ride home, but it's on you, and then you can go home if you want to. Early day, 5 o'clock, done. But the benefit is we didn't just sit there and drink. We sat there and we tried to talk to them. We were trying to engage them in conversation. We would welcome them in or out of uniform. Be like, come in uniform, come out of uniform. I don't care, but you got to be there. It's literally, this is no different than you being on a job site. I want you there.
Yeah.
Because when they're there, now you can talk to them about what really motivates them. And maybe you loosen up after a drink or two. I mean, I know that's one of the reasons why I did. I used it to loosen up because I'm a bit of a robot sometimes when I'm not. But being able to say to someone, hey, do you like being here? While they're already in a relaxed environment, or even better, man, I really appreciate your being here. This company is better with you being here. If you're saying that and someone believes you, are they going to work harder for you?
Yeah, definitely. And this ties perfectly back into that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And checking in with people, being a person instead of a boss. That's important. By the way, if we didn't already cover this, this is not a time to talk about roles and responsibilities. It's a time to engage with someone as a person and have a little fun. In fact, there's a big reason why fun goes a long way and why laughter is so important. And it's actually very similar, at least my understanding of it is very similar to the multiplication of the human experience that happens at any sports arena, even a fighting event,
especially
anything
a fighting event
where people come together for a common purpose or cause and they cheer for that win, right? They feel that loss together. They laugh at that comedy together. When we have those moments, that's team building that you cannot just insert. You can insert a process to create team building, though. You can do this meet. Was it one Thursday a month?
One Thursday a month. It wasn't overly crazy, but it was along the lines of, we will intentionally stop to say thank you to our team while also trying to engage with them on a personal basis. Like if I recognize one of my employees was a hunter, I'm going to be like, okay, we're going to talk about disassembling and firearm training. They're like, great. You want to talk about that? I love that. Let's talk about your ranges. Let's talk about where you're going.
Yeah.
Someone who likes to cook, I'll get to laugh about how I'm a terrible cook. And we get to tease me on that. But being able to talk to someone as a person and let them know that I'm here and interested in who you are in or out of uniform can build an amazingly strong bond.
Yeah. Very important. I love what you said there. And it reminds me of another thing. We said, don't talk about roles and responsibilities. Also, don't talk about you. The key to other people liking you and enjoying your company is actually being a good listener and asking questions about them. Get to know them, because typically if you're being seen as a boss, then you're also being seen as someone who's too busy most times to engage with them on their level. All they do is engage with you on yours. These are great times to do something different. And I've actually gone as far as using the 80-20 principle, even being that there is a hierarchy. We know that Apex players actually don't put money first as a priority for why they come to work. Rank, recognition, rewards, then salary, then the money. And so as people would climb that rank and show that they wanted more, they would get more from me, more attention, more one-to-ones. Hey,
And
go
those
out
needs
there,
get met.
show the guys what to do, and then why don't you come back? Let's have a sit down for a bit. We'll have a coffee and chat. How does that make you feel as someone being appreciated by the leadership team, right? By the business owner?
Honestly, I mean, I'm a sucker for validation. So, it's one of those things where it speaks probably particular to me, but knowing that the boss is trying to sit down with you, and even in a conversation starter, like maybe he knows something about me. It's like, hey, Joe, how's the tree planting going? Like just something out of the ordinary, like that they wouldn't have known unless they knew me.
Yeah.
That shows that they're vested people. They want to invest in me as their employee. Because if I'm told or I'm shown that I'm just a cogwheel of this great machine, then I could be a cogwheel somewhere else. But if I'm a valued member of this team, the team wouldn't be the same without me.
Yeah.
And I can't leave. I got to stay here. I got to be part of the team. I want to root the team to the championship. Let's get there.
Yeah, definitely. And to take up the fun a notch, I want to share some strategies with you guys.
Sure.
And as Steve mentions in the group, communication, absolutely. So I've got a fun strategy for actually teaching people how hard communication is. I mean, it's a little game.
Sweet.
In every case, in your training, you should try to incorporate something that's fun, a little bit exciting, even a little bit uncomfortable, because uncomfortable also leads to fun, embarrassing, breaking down the walls. This is a good culture that will work well together. A culture that supports people having a defense up and a wall up that protects them and their ego is actually not good. We want that stuff broken down. We want the team to have a force field around, not the individual. Does that make sense?
It does. I like that a lot.
So here's a great exercise for this. I actually learned it in project management training many years ago, but this is hard. So you, as the business owner, go to a whiteboard and draw a shape and have half your team not able to see this shape. It could be a Christmas tree with some balls on it. It could be a present with a bow. It could be a doorway in a wall or a building in a lawn. It could be anything you want. But what's going to happen is half your team are going to be drawers. They're not going to get to see what you put on the whiteboard behind them. The other half are going to be the pilots, the communicators, or sorry, the co-pilots, the communicators, and they're going to get to see the shape on the wall. And what they've got to do is actually communicate to their drawer partner how to draw what it is without saying what it looks like.
That sounds really cool.
If it's a Christmas tree, you can't say it's a Christmas tree. Does that make sense?
So you could be like, it is a triangle with two hypotenuse right angles at a 45-degree angle. And therefore, yeah. All right, cool.
So
I love it.
Super hard, super hard. And it highlights very well how hard communication is. Now, why would this be important to know as electricians? Well, I don't know how many of your guys are going out there trying to recite a code book to a little old lady who doesn't realize that she's got knob and tube all over her house and it's no longer safe.
It's probably too many because people are looking at it and saying, well, code says not good. So I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Boom, failed.
Right? So there's little exercises like that. You don't have to get them all from our show. You can just Google that stuff. Google's got 1 billion results for ways to make trainings fun. I had another mentor, actually, still have in some ways, emails every day, his email list. Really running that email marketing campaign. But here's what he does different. He follows the same framework every day, and every day it starts with a joke. The crazy part is, this is what I've been trying to decode. It's one of these email chains I've read many days and saved many of them because they're genius. But the crazy part is, who wrote the jokes? You can tell they're original. I cannot figure out how this guy writes a joke every day.
I can't write a joke a week, let alone a joke a day. It's not a funny person.
That sounds crazy. Awesome. But because he's fun, because it's funny, he actually leads one of the biggest coaching companies on the planet with over 1,000 coaches in 29 different countries. It's insane. It's insane, but that's what a little fun will bring you. I feel like I just monologued too much, Joe. Do you have any other examples of bringing fun to the workplace for us?
Yes. Okay. All right. So I've seen multiple companies do this, but I have absolutely loved it. It's actually very common in the HVAC industry. People will go by and have maintenance competitions, like who can convert the most calls, who can go from maintenance to this call and upgrades and things like that. And what they would do is they would make a prize for the winner. And one of the ones I've seen most common is the WWE belt.
Oh, yeah.
Where you literally would have a belt and you can engrave it with any topic you want. Be like the man of the week. Like, it could be whatever you want it to be. It could be chief bottle washer. Doesn't matter. You can say the boss, whatever it is. But the fact that your team is consistently trying to chase this award just to have bragging rights over the other, it makes it more fun. Because now they're like, yeah, I'm pushing just so I can get one over on John. Because that guy's a dick and I enjoy laughing at him. It's like, all right, cool. It's fun. We'll all kind of enjoy that little camaraderie every now and then.
Totally. And if you're an old WWF, I'm going to say, wrestling fan
Ooh.
like I was growing up, then what do you do when you hold that belt? You
You
probably
literally go
run up to the
two
guys and, yeah,
arms up all the way.
hold it like your favorite superstar did back in the day,
Mm,
right?
yes,
Macho
sir.
Man Randy Savage.
Oh God. Please tell me you're a Macho Man guy. Because
Oh, yeah.
literally, oh,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
I actually have one of my screensavers. They're changing all the time. I've got a Macho Man Randy Savage coming from the top ropes to drop the elbow on someone.
The people's elbow. Here it comes.
Yeah, and I think it says something like a little bit of Savage in all of us, something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah,
Well,
there's
I
a
mean,
Nike one.
if you think about Savage, like that is talking about having fun and being successful with it. The guy would oil up, put on a sequin jacket, put on a pair of glasses I'm sure no one could see out of, was all drugged up out of his mind, and yet would always put on the best show.
Yeah. Oh
He just
man.
showed up ready to perform, ready to act. And
Yeah.
that's what matters. You know, how many of us are willing to put that same effort as the Macho Man did into our own businesses? How many of us are willing to go out of our way to say, you know what, I'm going to make sure everyone watching me right now is going to get a good experience?
Yeah. You know what, you brought me full circle here, and the hardest thing about this is I know it's easy to listen to this podcast to go, okay, I need to be more fun. That'll help things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it comes back to this Tony Robbins thing, and we say the 3S problem, where people tend to go strategy, story, then state. So today we're talking a bit about a strategy to bring fun to the workplace, but that's not actually where it begins.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can all think about this driving down the road, whether we're an electrician on the way to our next call or a business owner, sending people to work right now, or just managing, anything for the day, managing your dispatch, right? Point being, it's actually state first.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is actually taking the moment to breathe, audit your energy, hold the mirror up. This is one of the hardest things to do in life, but it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
And go, am I bringing the right energy to this next engagement? If you feel like a bag of dicks, which by the way, I have received in the mail, whoever sent those.
Oh man.
Have you seen the gummy dicks? That's a thing.
Oh yeah. It's freaking hilarious because they literally have them where you could ship them by the pound.
Yeah.
So like you can literally be like, here's a 10-pound bag of dicks. Here you go. Knock yourself out.
Inappropriate. My daughter opened those, you jerks. I'm
Okay.
joking. That's a bad joke. Here's the thing though, checking that energy and bringing that to the game, right? If you're training, who's ever excited going to training first thing in the morning? Yeah, Joseph is. He's got a hand up over here. If you guys you
love
can't see us,
training.
Joseph's got a hand up. I am too, because I love teaching. I love teaching. I love the engagements. But a lot of times over the years, not everyone's a rock star, right? B players, C players, some guys are just there for a check, and maybe that's just it for now. But you get guys yawning. What do? Oh, yeah, that's nice. Oh, great. Can't wait for 4 o'clock, right?
I know.
The energy you bring can help solve that. I used to always try to bring a laugh and come in hot and heavy and make sure they couldn't sleep. Instead of just telling, I would bring it. And I would even make jokes at my own expense, because guess what? Some of that is the best thing to laugh at. I remember the last project I ran, I came in the morning, I had like a year off, and then they hired me back to go consult on a project. So I'm there first thing in the morning, and the first joke I made was, yeah, you're back on Clay's project. Guess what? You're being held hostage again. Great, half-hour safety meeting to train and talk about safety stuff today. And like 10 people like belly laughed. They couldn't contain it because it's so true. I love teaching that much. I would hold rooms hostage. I would train to that level. That's my favorite part of the day. And by the way, if you're listening to this, this is a bit of a tangent, but there's a reason why I became that way, why I became this way. I, like many of the people who are listening to this at one point, thought I had fallen out of love with electrical. I thought it was it for me. How many times have you spoken to someone that says, I don't know if this is it for me? I don't think I'm in love with this anymore.
I've been there myself where like eventually I came to the point where I was like, why am I doing this? What is the point of all this? What am I gaining from it? Yeah, we're sitting on like at the time I was sitting on a big old pile of money, but what else? What else is there?
Yeah.
It's hard. If when you stop chasing the money, if that's where you started at, what's your bigger motivation?
And just like bringing good fun and good energy to a meeting, to an
Mm-hmm.
engagement, it takes a reframe. Did it take a reframe for you?
Yeah, honestly, my daughter being born. The year my daughter was born, I had the biggest year of my life because suddenly there was a now I'm ready to do this. Now I got a reason to grind in. I'm going to make sure I close everything. And it was
Yeah.
one of the biggest years I had.
And in many ways, that was kind of it for me too.
Mm-hmm.
My little fall out of love moment was actually after my daughter was born. I knew I still had more gas in the tank. I just didn't know how to access it. I had
Mm-hmm.
fallen out of love with that niche, the projects. I mean, this was a long time coming, and I knew I had no other way to do what I needed to do to make money, to sustain my family, to sustain my lifestyle. Like I was stuck. And I realized, wait a minute, I've got 30, 40, 50, sometimes 70, 80, 100 people on a project in a room over there ready to listen to whatever I have to say. And the people I started serving as I fell out of love with the project mentality because the clients never pay you the love or respect you deserve. They always want
Mm-hmm.
it better, faster, cheaper, triple constraint, better,
Mm-hmm.
faster, cheaper, right? So I started serving the people on the crews. And we would talk about money. We talk about anything but safety a lot of the times. How to become the best electrician. I loved helping people rise up to
Mm-hmm.
that occasion. And we would definitely try to have fun and do like the Thursday nights, go to the bar, have some good chats, have a great time, and then get back to the grindstone, man. So
Mm-hmm.
important. But that's how I fell back in love with the trade. And ever since then, it actually, I can wholeheartedly say this, changed my trajectory so that I can be here in a 69 with you.
Oh boy.
Okay. Awkward joke of the day. Oh, in episode 69 with you, Joe.
Yep, that makes
Incredible.
sense.
Incredible. It all started with that minor tweak, though. Here we are.
Mhm. I love
So,
it. I really do love it. There's a lot that can be said for this. And I think that this is one of those moments where sharing the action, the all-star would be helpful because I want to give it a little more weight.
yeah.
Is it cool? We
Yeah. I can stop rambling and we can get to the actions for sure.
no, it's not a rambling. You're providing valuable content because what you're describing is something that we've all gone through, right? So many of us have lost faith in the trade or in the job or even in the company that you physically run,
Yeah.
right? And that's why bringing fun is going to be so important. It's got to
Okay.
be something that if you're not loving what you're doing, you at least can love where you are or love why you're doing it.
I love that.
Find your why can be more important. Like,
I love that.
yeah, you could hate your job, but you can love the family that you're doing it for. And suddenly you'll have a different motivation.
So let me ask you this.
Mhm.
You want the all-star today or the action?
I want the all-star because I've got something particular in mind with that.
Okay. Let's see if I stomp all over it by making it my action. It happens once in a while.
It does.
Here's the thing, guys. If you are on your own, even right now, your greatest success will come through the leverage of others and the mastery of your inner world, right? That's the interesting thing about what we teach at Service Loop Electrical on the inside track with our electripreneurs and entrepreneurs. We're not just teaching the outside world. That's a big piece of it. But the style of that outside world, that mastering sales, simplify pricing, delivering premium service also relies a
Mhm.
ton on mastering the inner world, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about the disciplines, the motivations, the energy, the communication. All this stuff is so, so critical to it. So, as an
Mhm.
action item, I need you to pull out a mirror, a pocket mirror, and I need you to look at yourself for a moment. If you're driving, make it just a very slight moment, please, and get back to the road. This doesn't
Mhm.
take long.
Eye in the
We
windshield, right?
need to recognize the energy that we're bringing and ask yourself honestly, if you're solo, am I having fun here? What do I need to do to achieve a little better balance and a little more fun? This question, this observation is, I think, fundamental to all things going forward, because that's the exact moment that I referenced earlier, recognizing that I had fallen off my groove. I was falling out of love, and I needed to make an energy pivot to create this, to manifest this better situation for myself and for the people I serve.
I can get behind it. That
Did
sounds
I
like a
stomp
solid
all over
action.
yours?
No, not at all. Actually,
Okay,
that actually
perfect.
helped set me up, believe it or not.
Awesome.
So the thing about the all-star action that I really want to communicate with people is that you need to be able to go a little bit farther than yourself in order to accomplish it. Now, what I mean by that is this. We know that there are only 24 hours in the day, right? You only have 24 hours. And according to our jar, 8 to 7 of them should be going into the sleep machine, right? We know that's what we have.
Yeah.
I like to take it as a little bit more of a robotic view, if I would, but it makes a lot of sense to me in that I would always assign the things that had to be done to that list. And then once you know all the have to do's, the times where I don't have things to do become much more clear. Like, you have your 1 o'clock lunch.
Yeah.
You know that you're home at 6:30 to have, dinner, and you're going to put the kids to bed at 8. Like, whatever you're going to do, you know that there's time that you're going to do things. For me, that made it easier for me to have fun. The reason being was that I'm the kind of worker that I can't really relax until I know I've gotten the things done. So if I get the things done first, I can relax unhindered in a way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Totally.
So if I were going to give someone an all-star action, the reason why I wanted the all-star is there are some of us out there that really struggle to have fun, right? Like, you may be behind the windshield right now saying, like, I've been doing 16-hour days. I've worked 6 days a week for the past 5 years. And that's just a normal way you live. But if you knew that you had certain days blocked out and you know that you had an hour here or there, you can choose to use those hours for fun. And as a result, that would make your life better for everyone in it. And we take the time for ourselves. So the all-star action that I would command and advise would be really recognize when you actually do have the time and intentionally block it off on your calendar for fun. Even if it's simply saying, between this hour and this hour, I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to doom scroll. I'm going to go outside and go for a walk. I don't care. Whatever you enjoy doing, allot the time to do it and commit to it. Sometimes having fun needs to be as non-negotiable as it does mean doing a service call.
Perfect. Perfect finish, man. That is such a huge point, guys. If you didn't get that flat out, right out of Joe's mouth here, that hobby will actually drive your performance at work, right? There are guys out there that love golf and they're not golfing. You got to get out there. You got to go. You got to golf. For me, pilot's license is next. Oh my God, I cannot resist. The season's right. I need to go. I need to do that so that I can continue to serve at the highest level, because I know when I'm growing personally, that I'm also growing professionally as well.
Amen.
So huge. Big mic drop. Thank you, Joe, for that one. Guys, we're here with you again 5 days a week on Electricpreneur Secrets, the only electrician podcast that's here to help you master sales, simplify pricing, and deliver premium level service. Guys, we won't quit if you don't. So let's keep looking forward, looking up, and growing together. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us. Episode 69. Time for fun.